live.
Okay, we're live. We're live, ladies and gentlemen. It is Million Dollar Agent, the podcast. Tom Panos and John McGrath here as we come to you every week. And I'm just moving there. Today, as you can see, I'm doing it from the park. We're just exercising at the moment. I'm just having a quick break out of the exercise. And John was kind enough to say, hey, listen, no need to break your exercise. Do it from the park. Johnny, good to see you again.
Thanks, Tommy. You are looking like, I was going to say Top Gun. Who's the guy, Maverick? Or you're looking extraordinary. I've never seen you looking more healthy. Well done. Keep up the exercise.
I've got to say, John, outdoor lighting does help a lot. I can tell you that. I've learned all these years doing video. They always say, go outside. But John, as we're shooting this video live to our viewers, and hi to everyone, and thanks for joining us. John, it appears that we now have got some sort of, line in the sand where those that are in Melbourne and Sydney are being told there's going to be, more flexibility, less restrictions from around middle of October. The date that's being thrown around is October 18. And maybe what we should spend time on this podcast is to talk about, what are the girls and guys. And I say, John, there are three people currently in the market. There's the whingers, there's the watchers, and there's the winners. There's the winners. And what are the winners? What are the winners doing? And I've got to say, John, you've got plenty of winners in your network. You've got plenty of winners. What are the good ones doing at the moment?
Well, look, I think it depends a little bit, Tommy, where they're at, because we're in 4 states and depends who's listening and watching. But look, I think our winners have really skipped a beat. They continued from the day of lockdowns. They found a way that's COVID safe to continue to service their clients, both buyers and sellers. They didn't worry about the 20 or 30% that said we'd rather wait. They focused on the 70 or 80% that said we're happy to go forward. And Con Stathopoulos, who's a dear friend of both of ours, I know you were talking to him earlier, he just did 11 auctions on Saturday, sold 10 under the hammer, or 9 under the hammer, and won a few hours later. So I actually think it's better market right now than it will be in November, December. That's my personal view. And if I was speaking to a dear friend and they said, oh, John, I think we'll wait until the end of lockdown because, then things will be back to normal. My view is the market's red hot now. It's got a lot to do with a low scarcity of listings. And once we get back, we are going to be, don't worry about Christmas. I know you can't book holidays for Christmas anyway, but we are going to be in a tsunami of listings come November, October maybe, but certainly November, December, January, February. Good problem to have, not complaining. But what comes with that, Tommy, is there's going to have to be a little bit of dilution of the buyer demand. So I think the smartest agents are saying to their clients, hey, Tom, we're going to sell whenever you're happy and ready, we'll sell. However, I think we should rethink the timing because right now the market is on fire. I was talking to David Greenwood and his wife Haley this morning. They had offer acceptance on a unit, 1-bedroom unit at a price of $420 in Wollongong a few days ago. Vendor was over the moon. They wanted $400. They got them $420. They had so much interest, they actually put it to a virtual style of tender. I think it was through Auction Now. I think they got $568 24 hours later. So they had an offer accepted, $420. They put it to the competition because they said, look, I'm glad you're happy to take it, but we got a lot of other interest. And it took it up to $568. So I just think right now it's an extraordinary time to be listing and selling. If you missed the boat a little bit, there is still time, but I think I'd be definitely getting on the front foot for your vendors because you're right, 95% chance, middle of October, there are going to be restrictions eased to allow real estate agents to go back to normal. Maybe it's not normal, but it's going to be semi-normal.
So John, and I know that you've never been one that wants to sort of say, hey, this is definitely what's going to happen in the market in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. But you've got this great ability of having a better view by your helicopter because you've got this depth and breadth of agents in most parts of Australia. I want to ask you, your feeling is, we know that there's going to be a stock supply of listings come on, because we simply know that in certain parts, vendors are just not getting appraisals because they're concerned about COVID. And some of them are saying that, hey, there's no point putting our property on the market because there's nothing to actually, move to. So you've got that issue. Do you think when the stock levels go up, the buyers will also increase, or are we going to have a softening of the marketplace?
I think softening is too strong a word, Tommy. I think I said before, I think there'll be a dilution of the buyer demand, not because there'll be less buyers, there'll just be more listings. So I think the prices, and whether you call them crazy prices, strong prices, or whatever, the sort of prices that we're reading about, hearing, and hopefully the agents in your gym that are watching us are actually experiencing, I think we're going to see some of those crazy prices out of the market, but I think we'll still see a very solid market for the next 6 to 12 months. At some point, the problems that exist behind the scenes, which unfortunately are things like small businesses that may not survive, things in hospitality and tourism and so forth, those industries that have been hardest hit. And even the big governments that have got to find out a way to kind of repay all this money that they've just given out to the public and built infrastructure with. At some point in the next 12 to 18 months, I think there'll be a little bit of a pullback. But I think, the 420 price that we had a couple of days ago in Wollongong was a great price. I think you'll still get that in a couple of months, but you won't get the 568 that we got as a result of just the everyone rushing to the door to try and buy it. So I think it's okay. If a vendor said to me, I'm going to wait till January, I'll say you'll still get a good price. But I'd also say, is there any reason why you wouldn't be going to market now? Because I think you'll get a better price now than you will in January, which is my honest feeling.
And John, can I ask you, with the fact that, pick Victoria, where we know that there's this incredible demand by buyers to want to buy because they haven't been able to because of the laws there. And also in, New South Wales, Canberra's in the same boat. New Zealand, we've got a lot of listeners. New Zealand's lockdown is equivalent to the Melbourne lockdown, which is, like I only found out today that the only way you can actually get a takeaway cup of coffee is from a service station. If you go into a service station, so there, it is a pretty strict lockdown. There's going to be all this repressed activity. Do you think, John, that the normal Christmas break, where we know that a lot of the times people would sort of finish work around 15th of December, and then they would rock up, often after Australia Day, do you think that that's going to be different this year?
100%, Tommy. I think partially you just won't be able to travel with the same ease as you have in previous years. So there's going to be that restriction. And the other thing is, I think it's going to be so busy. If you're in the real estate industry, it'd be a very expensive holiday to take a month off, because I think there's going to be so much business to be done over that period. And even, if you're in the hospitality, tourism, or one of the affected industries, people are going to want to try and claw back some of their losses over this period. So I think there will be a shortish, 10-day to maybe 14-day Christmas instead of a 30-day Christmas. But there's a lot of good stuff, Tom, happening out there, really. I mean, you're right. There's going to be this explosion of excitement for people to get back, and there'll be people eating out 3, 4, 5 nights a week because they just want to see their friends and catch up once they're allowed to do so. So it's not all bad. There will be a catch up for some of the industries that have been hit. Fortunately, as an industry, we've been able to survive pretty well. So it's exciting, but I would be definitely on the front foot. Join the winners. Don't worry about the whingers and the watchers. Join the winners. Get on the front foot. Ring your clients. Make sure they have the opportunity to say yes to a proposition of going to the market before the flood of listings, because they'll benefit. If you're an agent that can't do all of that, let's say you're in Melbourne or New Zealand, just use the next 30 days, because I think that's all it'll be, maybe 45 days. Use it to your advantage. Get organized. Continue to clean your database. Continue to speak to your clients. Do all the things we've been talking about over the last few webinars, because I think, as you said beautifully at the beginning, Tommy, the finish line is in sight. We're in the home straight. We can see the finish line, and we should be able to now take a deep breath and go hard for the last month. And it should be good.
And I've got to say, John, there are plenty of girls and guys that I've been speaking to over the last month or so that said to me, Tommy, we stuffed up the first few weeks. I got into the trap of, instead of hitting the phones, I was hitting Dan Murphy's. Instead of waking up and going to my desk at 8:30, I was going to my desk at 10 o'clock, sitting in a robe after I'd been watching late night movies till 1 o'clock. But I realized that it wasn't helping me, it was going to harm me. And I realized that with the goal line now clearly happening at some time in October, I needed to get myself out of the act. And John, I reckon one of the greatest rules in real estate is this 30-day rule. Whatever you do in a 30-day period affects the next 90 days. So if you really think about it, everyone watching this, you've essentially got around 30 days thereabouts before you're going to have far more flexibility in the way that you go about business. And of course, if you're in Queensland, life is great for you regardless. But the 30 days still matters, because what you do in this 30 days will affect the October, November, December period. So here's the time to do it.
No regrets, Tommy. If you have done a bit of that or wasted it, don't worry, you can't change that. You can change what you do tomorrow morning when you get up. You can realize there's a finish line. On the other side of the finish line, it's going to be hectic. So make sure you get super organized and get ready. And I just wanted to mention before we wrap up, because I know you've got to get back to your exercise in a minute. I haven't seen it yet, but I was told by someone that your Real Estate Gym app has launched. And I know you've been talking and excited about this. I can't wait to have a look at it. Is that for your gym members, which a lot of them
It is. So John, the real estate gym is now closed, but we do have a wait list. So we open it up every few months. So if you want to become a gym member, you go to the wait list, realestategym.com.au. However, we've been working on this for around 6-9 months, and that is that, I mean, whether it's Netflix or Spotify or any other app, we just realized that agents were not on laptops. They weren't on desktops. They're on mobile phones. They're on iPads. So we actually took all our content, and it was a bit of an investment. We created an app, and the app just means that things fly at you really, really fast. And our gym members this week, we actually did beta testing. So we didn't invite everyone at the one time. We did it a small group, because I've learned with IT projects, John, if there's glitches and everyone gets hit at the one time, it's just a nightmare. So we did a small sample of around 200 or 300 people, and there was 1 or 2 small glitches. They've been sorted out. So I've been pumped about it, because it's anything that's fast and easy for people to use, that's how they're consuming. So John, that's what we've been doing, and I've got to tell you, it's been I think the last 6-8 weeks have been a good time on self-development. People talk about learning is earning, and they always complain that they don't have a chance. It's been a golden opportunity. John, I've done a lot of learning. I mean, for me, I do a lot of learning through things like Udemy, UDEMY, which are online courses. I can't help it. I've learned how to actually, when you're listening to a podcast, to clip things so you can actually go. Did you know how to clip things, that you can actually, when you're listening to something, you clip it so you don't lose it, right? So all these sorts of things, you've had to add a little bit more time. John, can I ask you, from your perspective, what have been some of the benefits of a period where we've been in lockdown for yourself?
I just think, Tom, thinking time, even if you're active, the thinking time has been greater. I think immersion in technology and getting to really know is things like you've just mentioned, the technology, be them podcasts, be it Zoom, be it GoToMeeting, be it auctions live or real-time auctions. They're all great. And I think I'm going to leave this particular lockdown, hopefully the last one, are much better equipped to deal with the virtual. We've been rethinking our business for post-lockdown. What is going to happen with virtual auctions? Are they going to still be a part of the terrain? How do we involve and embed them in real-time auctions and bring them together? So we've had a lot of great discussions with our team about how do we reinvent ourselves. And I think for me, like you, general learning has been good, but specifically thinking about the business has been fantastic. So use the time over the next few weeks.
All righty. Guys and girls, have a great week. Johnny, good to see you. And I'm going to do a big shout out, John, because right now, I counted them before we went on the podcast. There are 11 people that I'm aware of going through cancer. at the moment. 11 people in our real estate industry that are going through cancer. I know that there's some of those people are in the McGrath group, and there are people that are outside the McGrath group. And all I'll say to you is that sometimes these people get forgotten in a world of COVID, where we have premiers that are yelling out numbers. And, you know, to all the people there, some want to be private. Angelo Nicholas is very vocal about it. He's having chemo this week as we speak. A big shout out to the 150,000 cancer people that get diagnosed a year, which, John, if you think about it, it's a big number when you look at the number of COVID cases and the number of deaths, but then you turn around and say, oh, what about other things? There's a lot of, did you know, Johnny, 50,000 people a year die in Australia of cancer, and that's 150 diagnoses. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and but the fortunate thing is that rate, Tom, as you attest to, you're a living embodiment of it. At one point in time, cancer was a death sentence for almost everyone that got it. I think now so many of the cancers have really, subject to early detection, have really come under control, and they're having great effects, as you can attest to. So, you know, that's why when people like Angelo that are young and strong and get it early and are surrounded by wonderful Stacey and Phil Harris and Sarah and the team at Harris, it's fantastic. And I think they have such a better path to full recovery than perhaps 10 years ago. So that's the plus side. But you're right, we're thinking of everyone, not just people that are in COVID lockdown, but more importantly than that, people that are going through things like chemo and just had a diagnosis. So, yeah, anyone we can help. If you do need help, I know, reach out to Tom or myself. We're here to help you. It doesn't matter whether you're a member of the real estate gym or not, or a member of McGrath. We're here to help you because we love the industry and we're gifted. And one of the greatest sayings I remember, Tommy, and I can't remember who it came from. I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to guess, but it said, if you've been blessed, be a blessing. If you've been blessed, be a blessing. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And we've all been blessed. We're all sitting there in the real estate industry in a wonderful country of Australia and New Zealand. So we should be a blessing for others as well. So we'll finish on that. Tommy, get back to your push-ups, double the push-ups now because you've had a long break.
So viewers, can you do us a favor? VJ, can you flex that bicep? I just want to see. There you go. Guys and girls, as you can see, I've got a lot bigger during the break. I've been training with footy players. I have actually told them I was a good footy player myself, Johnny, which I wasn't. You were a great footy player.
Not bad. Thank you.
Hey, Johnny,
right.
before we go, just quickly, I want to know now, before we're in the semis, who's going to win the grand final in rugby league? Who's going to win the grand final in AFL?
God, AFL, you'll have to help me a bit because I'm not as close on that. I think the Storm, Melbourne Storm. Look, Melbourne could win both. In fact, I think they're favoured to win both. So I'll take the easy route and say Melbourne Storm and Melbourne Demons. I think the AFL is probably a little bit less clear. I think there could be a couple of upsets there, but I think the Melbourne Storm are a pretty warm favourite because they're quite an extraordinary team. So what about you? Who are your picks?
Manly.
Wow, upset. Good.
I think it's the only team that can beat Melbourne Storm, and I got a funny feeling there in Queensland. And as for the AFL, I shouldn't have even asked you the question, John, because right now I'm not 100% sure. I know that GWS is in there because they beat the Swans. So I'm going to say GWS and Manly, and I'm also going to put it out there. I think Maguire won't get sacked. I think the West Tigers coach won't get sacked. What a year to have the documentary Tiger Tales, Butts.
Oh dear, yeah, very, very painful. But anyway, it's a building year, Tommy. There's always next year.
It's our fourth building year in a row. See you, Johnny.
Bye.
Bye.